Hi everyone, welcome back. So today I'm going to show you a complete backtesting code, and we will be backtesting a very simple strategy, but you will get an idea how to do backtesting, and we will be essentially getting the data also from FYERS app, and then we will be backtesting the simple moving average strategy. So as we know, what's the rule of the simple moving average strategy? We will let's say we will be using 5 minute time frame data, and we will put maybe 100 SMA or 200 SMA. We can make the changes as per our convenience. So if the stock price is above the moving average, we'll buy it, and we can put a target and a stop loss. And let's say if it comes below the moving average, we will exit the trade also. And let's make it a continuous strategy. That means we will trade it more like a positional strategy, and keep taking the trades. So that is the idea. So it's an exhaustive strategy. As you can see, we will be doing a lot of things. So in the beginning, I've already done my login. So I've created my FYERS model. Then what I've done is I've created two functions, which is get stock data and get historical, which is going to help me to get the historical data. So before I talk about those things, let me show you the inputs. So this is the input. I'm giving a 5 period as my input. I'm going to test it on SBIN, and then I'm calling this function called get stock data, where I'm putting the symbol name, which is SBIN, time period, which is my 5 minutes time frame, and the duration. Now this duration means 100 days of data. So essentially what I want is 100 days of data for 5 minute time frame. So there will be a lot of candles. And let's now read what is there in the get stock data function. So when we go here, um, I am checking, I'm just converting my, I'm going to convert today's time as today. So that becomes my current date variable. And then I am checking whether I have an interval of D, which is my daily data, or whether I have some other time frame. So since I'm using 5 minute time frame, the code will come here. Now always remember that if you use any API, or let's say if you are using FYERS API, we will not be able to get a lot of data from a single call function call. So what essentially we will be doing is we will get the data in chunks. So this is what I'm doing here. I'm calling this function called get historical, in which I'm putting the name of the stock, which is SBIN. I'm putting the time interval, which is my 5 minute time interval. Then I'm converting it into a from duration and a to duration. Now, what is the meaning of from and to duration? Essentially, what I'm doing is I'm telling the code that I want the data for the latest 100 candles, for the latest 100 candles. So that is what it means here. I'm putting the code for the latest 100 candles, and then I'm just putting FYERS here because that is I was just testing it out. So for the first time when it runs the code, right, so this here, for the first time when it runs the code, it will get the data for the latest 100 candles. So that is what it is doing here. It is getting the data. This is the get historical code that we have already seen earlier also. So we are using the get historical function from here, or the history function. But the idea is we are only getting the latest 100 candles only. So we're getting the latest 100 candles, and then I'm just converting the data which I am getting in the response into a very clean format. So I'm getting my timestamp, I'm getting my open, high, low, close, and volume. Since this timestamp is not in a very easy to read manner, I'm creating another variable called timestamp2. So it's going to be another column, which is just going to convert it into a more readable format, and then I'm converting it into an Indian Standard Time. And once I've done that, I'm also deleting all the rows which are outside the trading time. So essentially anything before 9:15 and anything after 3:29, which is anything after 3:30, I'm deleting those rows. And this gives me the final data frame. So the first time, like I said, the first time when it runs the code, which is here, I get the latest 100 candles. Now what I'm going to do is this for loop is going to keep going back 100 data points or 100 rows. It will keep going back till it finally reaches the 100 days. So as I said, since we're using 5 minute data frame, that means it's 5 minutes, which is about 75 candles, and 100 days. So approximately 7,500 rows we should get. But please always remember that we will have a lot of Saturdays and Sundays. So probably the final result will have about 5,500 days, and that should return the final data frame. So essentially I'm using two functions, this, the get stock data and the get historical, to get my 100 days of data, which is almost 5,500 rows of data. So let's print it out. So I'm printing the data frame. Let me put a quit here to see whether it's coming fine. So I'm running the code now, and you can see here that we have got the latest 100 days worth of data on a 5-minute data frame. So as you can see here, I'm making this video on 18th January, and since today is a weekend, the latest data is 17th January. So it is giving me the latest data here, and then it is the last 100 days, which is since 11th October. It has given me the complete results. So you can clearly see we've got about 5,000 rows of historical data on a 5-minute data frame. As you can see here is 9:15, 9:20, 9:25, and that has been stored in a variable called df. So we have got our historical data. Now we are ready to do our testing. Once we've got the data, now let us talk about the rules and how are we going to code the backtest. So like I said, I'm going to use SMA period 200. It's a variable. So this is the parameter of the simple moving average. You can change it later if you want. Then let's say I want to use 1% stop loss. So I'm putting stop loss percentage 0.01, and I want to put a target of 2%. So it's 0.02. And this is where I'm calculating the SMA. So the way we are calculating the SMA is I'm getting the closing price, and it's a rolling mean. That means for every latest closing price, I'll calculate the SMA, and I'm putting it in SMA in this data frame itself. So what it means is that if I print it out, and if I put a quit here, you will realize that now we will have one more column called the SMA. So you can see here we have one more column called the SMA, which has all the simple moving averages. Now in the beginning there are NaN because I require minimum 200 rows to get the first SMA. So that is why it's showing initial few rows as NaN. But then we have the simple moving average, which is getting calculated here. So this is the SMA that we have been able to calculate now. So once we have the SMA, this is the logic for the actual strategy. So I'm making a variable called position. It's going to be like my status. A none means that I'm not in a trade. Long means that when I'm already in a buying trade, and short means when I'm already in a sell trade. I'm also going to use only long, which means I can only take long trades. Only long trades are possible, and only short, which means when only short trades are possible. So in the beginning it's none, I'm not in a trade. Then I'm putting my entry price as 0, my profit and loss is 0, and I'm going to keep a trade data list, which is going to keep managing what is my actual trades happening. This is where we are running the backtest. So we are making a for loop, and it is going to go through the entire data frame. So it will go through each data frame. It is going to do it on an SMA period. It is not required. We can also do it from right from the beginning. But yeah, this is always a better thing, because basically what we're trying to tell is that skip the initial 200 rows, and then the for loop will start. First thing that I'm doing is I'm getting my closing price of the current row, the SMA value of the current row, and the current time of the current row. Now I'm checking for my entries. So my entry condition is if the closing price is above the SMA value, and very importantly, my position is a none. That means I'm not in a position, or I'm in an only long position. If one of these is true, then I will get into the trade. So I will make position is equal to long. I will update my entry price, which is going to be the closing price. I'm going to update my entry time, which is going to be my current time. I'm going to calculate my stop loss and target. So my stop loss is going to be my entry price multiplied by 1 minus stop loss percent. Always remember that whenever we are buying, our stop loss is going to be on the lower side. and my target price is going to be my entry price multiplied by 1 plus target percent, because the target is going to be up, and I'm going to just print it out also. So this is the rule for my entry on the buying side, and this is the rule for my entry on the short side. So similar idea what we just discussed on the downside. Once we have got the entry, so how will we know once we've got the entry? Because my position will become either long or short. So if my position is long, that means I'm already in a buying trade. Then I have to check for three conditions: either my stop loss is hit, or my target is hit, or there's a change. That means from the stock price went from above SMA to below SMA. So in one of these three conditions, I will be exiting the trade. So that is what I'm testing here. If the current closing price is below the stop loss price, that means my stop loss is hit. So I'm going to make my trade profit loss is equal to the stop loss price minus the entry price. That means whatever was my stop loss price minus the entry price, that would become my profit or loss for this particular trade. I am also creating another variable called profit underscore loss, which is here, which is a cumulative profit loss. So my cumulative profit loss, I will just add this number here. I'm going to print it out also. And then I'm going to add all the entry time, entry price, everything in this trade data in this trade data list. So I'm appending my all the results, which is the entry price, the entry time, what was the direction, the exit price, exit time, the current P&L, and the remarks, whether my stop loss is hit or not, into this trade data list. And I'm making position is equal to only short. Now this is very important. Why have I done only short is because I was already in a long trade. Now let us say I was in a long trade, and when my stop loss got hit, the price or the stock was still above the moving average. So what I want to make sure is that now I can only go for selling trades. I can only go for selling trades when my stop loss is hit. That is why I've made this only short. That means I cannot go for any more long trades because my stop loss got hit on the long side. Similarly, this is the checking for the target price. So that means if my target is hit, again, I'm doing the same thing. I'm appending the value of the trade data, and I'm again making the position as only short, because since I've already made my profit on the long side, I can only go for short trades now. And on the third one, in which my closing price became less than SMA, that means my SMA, basically the stock went below the simple moving average. So there is anyway the change in direction. So I'm exiting the trade at the closing price, and I'm making position is equal to none, because the next time when the loop runs, it will go for the selling trade automatically. So these were the three exits for the buying side. So essentially my stop loss getting hit, my target getting hit, or change in the moving average, and similar three exits on the selling side. That means my stop loss getting hit, my target getting hit, or SMA value getting changed. So this will keep running for the entire, the for loop will keep running. And finally, it will give me the input, the output. The final output is it is showing what is my actual profit and loss. I am also going to print out the final data frame, which has all our entries and exits.